Here's what I've learned that I can remember anyway, after a month of being on the road trying to start a travel YouTube vlog channel. First, whatever you think that you can do as far as routine and things like that just is really hard to do, or in our case hasn't happened. And it's not that some of those things haven't happened, it's just that there's a lot of change on a regular basis. So, like you're gonna go visit an attraction and they're only open at 9 a.m. to noon or something. So whatever you might have had in your morning routine is now gone. Same with whatever you have throughout the week. Let's say you're gonna only work on Tuesday, Wednesday, but you have a place that you want to go and they only operate on those days, or a tour only has availability on those days. So all that stuff, working out, exercise, personal time, all those things are really hard to consistently do, for us anyway. Eating. I have some dietary restrictions right now, which is frustrating, but it's even more difficult on the road because you don't know where you're going to find the type of food that might be okay or that might work for you. And some people, that might be a dietary preference thing too. So it's just, you have to adapt, and you're constantly adapting. So it just takes more time, and it's not that it's not doable. It takes more time, and it just requires flexibility and maybe doing things a little bit outside of your comfort zone there too. The other thing, as far as outside of your comfort zone, I really am frustrated by crowds of people. I just don't enjoy them, and mostly because it's people, cutting in line or pushing you around, or they're too close to your space or whatever. And that, anytime you go to any kind of transit facility like an airport, train station, ferry terminal, things like that, boarding a boat, plane, that kind of stuff is completely nobody cares. You're gonna just have to deal with it. So that's something that for me has been, I know this about travel, but it's just the more often that you do it, the more you're subjecting yourself to something you might not want, which could be a good thing, actually. Just desensitizing a little bit, or teaching you patience or grace or whatever you want to call that. But the other thing is, whatever you expect might happen or your plans might be, there's a high possibility that they will change. Flight schedules, ferry schedules, weather, closed something, restaurant or attraction that you didn't know about. People have things in their life that come up, even if it's like a small attraction, or some small restaurant. They might have a family thing that they got to deal with, and so whatever you plan seems to just be, it is always subject to change. There's very few things that we can control in this world. I think the main thing is, basically how we react to things. That's about the only thing that we have control over. Things cost more than you expect them to. Some of that is because you just have to switch to something. Like, we're in this camper van, and I'll show you the camper van here. It's a great little camper van, but we are now staying in this Airbnb, which is a fantastic Airbnb, and it's affordable, but we had to change. Didn't have to, but decided to change because it's friggin' cold here for us at night, 45 degrees or so, sleeping in a van. Sometimes it's been raining. This is not something that we're enjoying, so we're having to pivot. fuel costs have gone up due to current events. That's going to affect flight prices. There's nothing that you can plan for things like that. And it's, have a contingency, I guess. Expect that you might need to adjust based off of whatever you're doing. You might show up and it's a scam Airbnb rental or something like that, and then you got to go get a hotel for a night, and then you got to figure something out, right? All these things can potentially happen. Communication between Carrie and I has been, generally we get along really pretty good, and we're not getting along. It's just that I might be thinking something that I want to video and I'm not communicating it well, or I do communicate and she didn't hear it, because we're out somewhere. It's just, it's a lot more to communicate, while you're trying to look at places and enjoy them and things like that. So have a plan for that. We're trying to figure out how to improve on that so we don't maybe irritate each other. So if it's just you, then that might be different, but if it's you and another person or more, that is something that I would recommend thinking about. As far as enjoying places, there's this kind of double-edged sword of like being somewhere that's super cool and you can enjoy it, and just feeling like you need to record it. And we're trying to understand where that line comes in, or maybe you do the recording and then you enjoy it, but it feels like you're not experiencing it in the same way. But at the same time, it's like, hey, you know what? Like, this is actually a really pretty cool thing to be able to even do. So it kind of, like I said, it's a double-edged sword. Internet. Uploading videos has been a huge pain, and I need to upload stuff on the regular to try to have a backup. So I have my hard drive plus, the stuff that's uploaded in case something happens to the hard drive. Carrie's having problems with her computer right now, and that's a perfect example of, hey, this is why you would want to have something backed up. It's not, our files are safe on that, but it's just an example that, you can't always rely on whatever technology that you have. And if those videos go away, everything you worked for is gone. So there's no record of that experience. So uploading is challenging because that is usually the slowest part of any connection. And we've had to we had one Airbnb that had blazing fast internet, but there's just no way to know until you are there. We did go to a co-working space and we had them check the speed, and it was amazingly fast there, and it turned out to be a great experience. So, but there's just no ability to do that on the road, like even through cell phone, even if I paid for it. And we've been places that have Starlink and the upload is just not fast enough because of the speed. That was more of a remote area, like in the Cook Islands. So it's just unpredictable. And with that, then it's, it's hard to back up things, hard to know what you can delete, etc. Producing the videos, that has been the absolute hardest thing for me to wrap my head around right now, is how to record it, writing the scripts, I guess, because we're not really doing that. And then you end up with a lot of footage afterwards and don't really know. It's just overwhelming for me at the moment, and that's the absolute biggest hurdle. But that's not stopping us. We're gonna put out a video hopefully sometime very soon, and it's just gonna be whatever it is. I think I'm accepting that the first one is going to suck, at least in my opinion, compared to what I would want it to be. And for me, I have these visions in my head of what I want to record, and then it may not be possible. Like, we're driving down this super scenic, windy road next to a river, down the side of a mountain. I'm like, this would be amazing to record with the drone, but you can't. There's cars all over. There's no place to turn around, et cetera, et cetera. So like the illusion that's in my own head and my mind about lots of things that I could record, it either doesn't turn out the way I wanted it to, or I thought it would, or it's just not possible to do. Those are the main things that I've learned so far, and gonna continue to learn probably a ton more. You might learn that I like to pace when I'm talking, in case you haven't noticed that. Catch you on the next one.